Rear Window, a 1954 classic directed by Alfred Hitchcock, is a unique type of thriller for how incredibly enjoyable and not just suspenseful it is. Jimmy Stewart stars as L.B. Jeffries, a famous photographer who broke his leg while covering a race car event. As he recuperates, Jeffries becomes convinced that Mr. Thorwald, a reclusive neighbor across the street, murdered his wife and disposed of her body. It must be said before all else that Rear Window has one of the most exciting and widely encompassing settings of any film I've seen. The film takes place almost entirely in a single room, but Jeffrey's window gives him and us a vantage point to peer into the vibrant lives of the other tenants, giving us a glimpse at newlyweds, sculptors, lonely hearts, and perky ballerinas. It is this voyeuristic position that sets off Jeffrey's obsessive murder investigation. Therefore, Rear Window's setting is both stationary and omniscient. But the film's clever use of setting also, to an extent, employs the unreliable narrator trope. Because of Jeffrey's literally distant observations of Mr. Thorwald and his fast but logical assumptions, Jeffries may be misinterpreting what he sees and leading himself and us on a wild goose chase. The setting of Rear Window is ingeniously layered and serves the complex narrative. Given how badly Alfred Hitchcock treated many of his female stars, Tippi Hedren in particular, during the shooting of The Birds, calling his films feminist may be a bit of a stretch, but Hitchcock has always been skilled at creating strong, defined female characters, and Rear Window is very egalitarian, for use of a better word, in its gender politics. Jeffries is the male protagonist, but the female characters have the power, mainly due to their greater mobility. Jeffries makes the plans to expose Mr. Thorwald as a murderer, but his girlfriend Lisa and nurse Stella execute those plans by further observing Thorwald's movements, digging up his flower bed to check for a body, and ultimately searching his apartment. Therefore, the plot of Rear Window is progressed through active collaboration by the men and women in the film. There is a line early in the film that is delivered sardonically by Jeffrey's boss at the newspaper, and it goes,
"Jeff, wives don't nag anymore. They discuss."
The line is spoken with a degree of cynicism, but the film seems to unironically celebrate this fact as the crux of Jeffrey's relationships with the opposite gender. Jeffries has open, honest, and respectful, if gently adversarial, interactions with Lisa and Stella, and both genders readily criticize each other and come across as equals, which was pretty groundbreaking representation for 1954. Jeffries and Lisa's first on-screen meeting, in which they have dinner and talk in the late evening, essentially turns into a spirited debate as they try to determine if they are compatible with each other. They both love each other, but Lisa is perhaps too accustomed to luxury as a socialite, and Jeffries is perhaps too accustomed to the dirt, danger, and nomadic lifestyle of being a news photographer, and he is slightly put off by her for how perfect, and therefore allegedly boring, she is. The dialogue and character dynamics are very natural and engaging, and one of the best elements of the film is Jeffrey's relationship with Lisa, played remarkably by the breathtaking Grace Kelly. Kelly radiates elegance and classy confidence in every moment she's on screen, and while Kelly's posh, distinguished attitude may seem a little exaggerated at first, it fits her character very well. She has adopted this demeanor as an affectation to better fit in with the rich crowd, and Lisa is now too deep in character to come out again. We initially see a regretful distance between Jeffries and Lisa, as they both long for each other but can't compromise for each other, so it's quite satisfying to watch them, possibly unconsciously, grow closer, and the friction between them dissipate as they investigate Mr. Thorwald. Therefore, the murder mystery and the realistic, nuanced romance plot threads both support and move each other forward. And that brings me to the best aspect of Rear Window. It's really fun. Rear Window crafts a compelling, perfectly paced journey through a narrative cycle that keeps escalating the tension and intrigue. As Jeffries, Lisa, and Stella watch their sinister neighbor from afar, they see many suspicious actions and details that logically implicate Thorwald in murder, but they are countered by contrary evidence and alibis that appear to check out, but the investigation flares up once again with further damning evidence. Rear Window is suspenseful and absorbing, but yeah, it's also a whole lot of fun. I love the witty, teasing banter between Jeffries and his friend Detective Tom Boyle, Wendell Corey. There are plenty of funny lines and moments and a few amusing sight gags. And the entire film has a satisfying atmosphere of a group of friends banding together and using their wits and bravery to figure out a puzzle, which is very enjoyable and energizing to watch, even under the dark circumstances. Rear Window is tense and compelling, superbly written and acted, masterfully paced, and a lot of fun, and earns 4.5 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.